Hello, 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 and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching and whenever you're watching, if you're joining us on replay. This is Tea with Lily and the special AI series. And today I think it's episode 5. I'm your host, Lily Naji-Mensah, brand strategist by day and an event host by night. And tonight I am hosting the wonderful Christina Tueje. How are you doing, Christina? Or Chris, shall I say, now that we're mates?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. And it's lovely to catch up with you again, Lily, and with your guests too.
Great. Now, let's see what's been in the news. We've had the bank holiday in the UK, and I don't know where else. I think it's May Day as well. So people have had some time off. And I know that in the UK, it was wet, and you couldn't go anywhere. It was just miserable. But guess what? Today is Tuesday, and it's a lovely day. I've been out. I've enjoyed the sun. So I've managed to catch up on some vitamin D, and I'm feeling really good. What else happened over the weekend? Yes, those of us in Bromley, any Bromley people in the audience who come on catch up, Bromley is finally in the Football League after 100 of years of their history. I am so excited. My only reservation is that where the football stadium is, it's always clogged up anyway. I don't know what it's going to look like on match day, but I am so excited for them. And I went to the office today. The guy was saying to me, oh, he's going to sell him because everybody was excited for Bromley. I've got a comment here. I think there's a Bromley person coming on. Yes, Lynn Harris. Yes, she's a Bromley girl. Beckenham Rotary Club. It's amazing. It's amazing news for Bromley anyway. Nolene, hello. Thanks for joining. And data breach. We're talking about data privacy in the Ministry of Defense. What is going on? Anyway, that's another thing. And Donald Trump turned up at the Grand Prix in Miami. That was very interesting. And I think we've got Trump in there in terms of elections later to talk about. So thanks for joining, everyone. Let us know where you're joining for. But as you know, if you've been watching this for years, it's Tea with Lily. Is a space for informal discussions where the great and the good join me on the magic sofa, and we talk about everything around topical issues where people can learn for their professional and personal growth. And, if people come from all walks of life. And today we are going to be talking about AI, privacy, and data protection. Hence the UK defense thing, really, really scaring me. I woke up to that news and I thought, oh my God, are we safe? Are we safe in this AI world? Now, yes, Christina, thank you, or Chris, thank you for joining. And thank you for coming on the magic sofa. What are you drinking, please?
I am drinking a cup of sparkling water.
Okay, ditto, chin chin, sparkling water.
Chin.
Through. I'm sure very soon there'll be AI and we can do this together. I think very soon AI will be doing everything for us. They'll be doing everything, most things for us, but the humans will be the ones that will be able to tidy up whatever they spew out. And I'm sure you tell us a bit more. I can't wait to delve into the stuff that we're going to talk about today. So if you're like me, you own a business and you're worried or you're concerned about what your responsibilities are in terms of whether it's GDPR, anything like that, do stay, because Chris is your woman. So let's hear a bit about her. Chris is Christina Tueje. Let me say her proper word, and then halfway in the conversation, I can call her Chris. Christina Tueje is a founder and principal consultant for GRC Information Management, and also founder and strategic lead of UK Black Privacy Professionals Network. The emerging interest in AI, data, and technology represent the space that she's been working in for over 15 years. Her values and purpose are to drive transformative and sustainable change, which enhance and enable women in tech, diverse tech talent, and female tech startup founders. Ooh, very nice. She's an award-winning and commercially focused AI privacy specialist and the founder of a boutique data strategy consultancy, and is committed to diversity, creativity, and strategic innovation with the tech industry, representing some strong brands and spearheading change management initiatives on a global scale. Wow, Christina, you're so big. I'm so honored that you decided to join me. Reading your bio, I'm like, oh, wow. Anyway, she's been leading innovation and digital business transformation programs for several years, with experience of accelerating cybersecurity resilience, data protection compliance, and safe AI implementation. She works with B2B corporate clients to enhance their confidence with AI as they build digital trust with their own clients, achieving remarkable results with AI readiness and AI adoption. The growth of AI now provides her with a great opportunity to apply her passion for privacy while enabling business leaders to grow their businesses ethically whilst protecting their brand. I like the word ethical. Thank you very much. Chris, welcome again.
Thank you so much, Lily.
What, in terms of this privacy data breach for the UK, I know it wasn't part of our initial discussion, but it's a hot topic and part of what you're doing. How do you feel? How should we feel about it?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. So, in terms of cybersecurity breaches, they are surprisingly common.
Okay.
We are all susceptible. You know, zillions of breaches happen every day. And the worrying thing about some of the bigger breaches is that they are bubbling beneath the surface for months, sometimes years, and then all of a sudden it becomes known that, you know, data's been compromised and it's an official breach. So how do I feel about today's breach? Dare I say there is a sense of inevitability. I understand it is what we call a third-party breach, in that it was a supplier to the UK, to the civil service, to the UK Defence Department, that compromised the data, a lot of data for a significant number of individuals. And these sorts of breaches are common, what we call third-party supplier breaches, because I suspect what happened is what we call the due diligence, the supplier due diligence wasn't done.
Or perhaps not robust enough.
Yeah, that's right. The supplier due diligence, or what we call the vendor assessment process, probably wasn't robust enough. And then rolling back slightly, what I should have said when I talked about almost a sense of inevitability around cybersecurity breaches these days, more so with AI. So the slightly scary thing, I must stress, this is not relevant to the UK defence breach, but if we're talking about AI and the risk of cybersecurity breaches, people are, the bad actors, as we call them, are using AI to, do bad things.
Bad actors do very, very bad things, bad people.
With AI,
because I suppose with AI does things very quickly that the human person cannot do. So what would take somebody 10 hours to do, AI can do in a minute or less. And therefore they're able to get to places where once upon a time the human wouldn't have been able to get to. That's very interesting. Oh, so we have Charles Thompson. Hello, Charles. Hello, Christian. Hello, Christian Latte. Paturan saying good evening all. And yes, thanks guys for joining. And we had one question. I don't know whether to ask the question now or keep this. Let's talk about other stuff first before we get into the really serious one. Now, Trump. Let's talk about Trump and the overall election stuff in the US or even in the UK. It's a very big year for elections, isn't it?
Yeah, massive, huge. We've had elections here in the UK last week. The election campaigns in the States seem to go on forever. And what I have been reading in terms of AI and, well, the US elections is that they are both, you know, both prominent leaders, both Biden and Trump, are using AI to I don't even know how to delicately put it, to, I don't know, elevate their election campaigns. And the interesting thing about that is that from EU, I mean, I know we're talking about, you know, US elections and AI, but from and we are in the UK, but from an EU AI Act perspective, and I think it's important to mention it now, the EU AI Act will be coming into force. It talks a lot about risk, and it's, you know, one of the risks is the use of AI in terms of influencing electoral behavior. So it's just interesting to watch what's going on in US and in the US elections and AI, you know, alongside, you know, the upcoming regulation in the EU, which has global reach. I think that's the important thing to say.
Okay.
There is
because
emerging.
The next question I was going to ask is that if the EU AI Act is coming up, will it affect the UK after Brexit, for instance? But because you say that it will have global reach, of course, the EU can, if EU can hit America, then they will be able to spread their net towards the UK as well. And do we as a country have to abide by them? That would be the question from the legal perspective.
Yeah, so I feel as though there are a number of questions in your statements. I'm going to see if I can answer some of those questions one by one. So yes, the UK isn't part of Europe anymore. We had Brexit a few years ago. So therefore, I was going to say many respects, in every respect, you know, you know, EU legislation doesn't typically apply sort of every day and ordinarily. So in terms of the GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation, which is the main data protection regulation that everyone seems to talk about across the globe, that started in the EU, as I think most people know. It's very often referred to as the EU GDPR. And the UK broke away from the EU, but adopted large chunks of the EU GDPR. So even though we're not part of the EU, we have got our own version of the GDPR, which we are obviously obliged to follow. The EU GDPR has a global reach anyway. So we need to, you know, it's very confusing for businesses because in many respects, you know, you know, here in the UK, you are expected to comply with the UK GDPR, which, just to confuse things further, is on the books to change. And we're also expected to comply with the EU GDPR where it may be relevant for our business to do so. And on top of that, we're expected to comply with other data protection legislation around the world, again, where it may be relevant to do so.
Oh, God. I remember the big hoo-ha about GDPR. You can't send bulk email anymore. You can't do all of that. It's scratching our heads. I'm sure all of us have breached it somehow. But at the time when GDPR was coming for the first time, there was a lot of admin time by lawyers, the people in your field, having to advise organizations of what they can and cannot do, and the huge fines that they had to, or they could potentially be fined if they didn't comply. Now, is it going to be the same thing around AI again, AI and GDPR? And are we going to have to worry again and comply and recomply? Those are questions.
Yeah, that's right. Because I was going to go on to say there are some similarities between the GDPR or the EU GDPR and the upcoming EU AI Act. And I think the one thing to stress about the EU AI Act, at the risk of sounding a little bit pedantic, is it's not a question of when, but sorry, it's not a question of if the EU AI Act will come into force. It will be coming into force imminently. You know, the draft text was formally agreed and signed off a few weeks ago. Actually, it feels like ages ago, but I think it was only a few weeks ago. And it will be coming into force, you know, imminently, you know, within a few weeks. So
within a few
business
weeks.
owners, yeah. So yeah, we're in May now, aren't we? We're rapidly approaching the middle of May. Yeah, within a few weeks, the EU AI Act will be coming into force. So we all, you know, we all need to brace ourselves for that.
Yeah.
But you're right, in terms of the I don't know, the fear, the panic, the excitement that we had with the GDPR, I'm seeing a lot of that with the EU AI Act and AI, but sort of for different reasons. And the other thing that I must stress with the EU AI Act is, and again, drawing some similarities with the GDPR, from what I remember and from what I experienced from the work that I was doing in the GDPR space at the time, a lot of business owners, companies and freelancers and big corporates, they were doing their GDPR work from fear, from a place of fear. We fear being fined. We need to, you know, get organized. With the EU AI Act, which does attract fines for non-compliance, and the fines are a little bit, the maximum fines are a little bit higher under the EU AI Act. What I'm finding in the EU AI Act space and with AI generally is that there seems to be a lot of excitement about the technology, a lot of fear about the technology as well. And people don't seem to be paying too much attention to the EU AI Act from a compliance point of view in the way that they did, as you say, in terms of the panic that we saw with the GDPR. So it's a very interesting space.
Okay. And I'm wondering why the government or the Companies House or HMRC, or whoever does those things, the legal arm of the government, why aren't they advising businesses or sending information about what's coming, what we need to do, what we need to be aware of, so we don't fall foul of, you know, fines that we probably can't afford to, and will make some businesses go bust because they're not too aware. I know that we're supposed to be aware of a lot of stuff, but if something is changing, the government, I think the government should let us know as a business owner that this is coming and you have to comply, and these are the things that you need to do. A couple of bullet points.
I completely agree. And I hear this all the time, particularly from freelancers, solopreneurs, small business owners. The compliance requirements are just too much. And, you know, they just creep up on you. And, you know, there's very little information to help business owners proactively prepare. But what I will say for listeners in the UK, if you want to get proactive with AI, GDPR and data protection compliance, you could sign up for regular updates from our data protection regulator. And our UK data protection regulator is called the Information Commissioner's Office, the ICO.
I'm going to write that there. Information. Yeah, I've heard of them. Office, ICO in the UK. UK to get information.
Yeah.
Okay, up to date information. That's brilliant.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. So I would encourage all business owners to, you know, just go onto the ICO website from time to time. There's a
Right.
Hi, sorry, I think we lost the internet connection there. Can you?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Right. Sorry.
I think you froze for a sec. It's fine. It's technology. It's fine.
And we're live. So sorry, guests.
So we're talking about signing up. We're talking about signing up.
That's right. So sign up for the, you know, the newsletters and the email alerts from the ICO, the Information Commissioner's Office. They are basically our UK data protection regulator here. You can also go onto the ICO website. They've got a small, I think they call it an SME section, small, medium and enterprise business section, where you can get, you know, useful advice. Advice.
I'm definitely signing up. So that's a good tip, because then that will, you know, I suppose, what preparedness for what's coming is probably vital. And you should be probably one of the people that should be going around, or people should be inviting you to talk more about what's coming, because this is the first I've heard of it. That data protection, there's an AI Act, EU AI Act coming up. It's the first I've heard of it. So that is worrying. And
the other thing I will say,
carry on.
I was simply going to say, yes, sorry. The other thing, whilst we're talking about the ICO, and we can talk about the ICO and the EU AI Act interchangeably, I guess, in terms of the ICO and, you know, just making sure that we all do the basic things to demonstrate our commitment to getting things right in the data protection space. We must pay our annual data protection fee as well. As small business owners, you can go onto the ICO website, check whether you need to pay. It's a small fee. I think it's £35 if you sign up for your annual direct debit, or £40 if you don't, £40 per year if you don't sign up for the annual direct debit. And it's just doing little things like that demonstrate your commitment, our commitment to data protection and keeping our customers' data safe. That's really why it's important to do that.
Yes. But I don't know, how does that link in with AI though, the Information Commissioner?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
That's a question. AI and the Information Commissioner, I don't know how the two, how they sit together. But is that where the government have put them?
It's a good question. So the ICO don't look after AI governance as such. The ICO are data protection regulators. So what they're interested in is, you know, compliance with or non-compliance with the GDPR and data protection legislation. But the relevance of, or the interface between data protection and AI is, particularly with the work that I do and a lot of the work that people like me, privacy professionals, do, is when companies approach me and they say, Chris, I want to implement AI and I want to do it safely, ethically, fairly and responsibly, help me. The first thing I will say to them is, you need to leverage your data protection program to demonstrate compliance with safe AI rules. So in order to demonstrate ethical and safe AI implementation, one way of doing that is basically to make sure that you've got your data protection house in order, just in terms of, you know, understanding the data that you collect, why you have it, demonstrated transparency in the way that you use it, and
Yeah.
so on. So that's the relationship between data protection and AI. The ICO look after data protection legislation and not AI legislation. But increasingly, where organizations are compliant with data protection, it's a little bit easier for them to demonstrate safe and ethical AI implementation.
Okay, yeah, I can see the link now. Initially, I was just being the layperson asking stupid questions, but I'm known for asking stupid questions because I know that if I'm asking that question, somebody else is thinking it for sure. So
I
that's what
appreciate
this
these
place.
questions.
Yeah,
I
that's what
appreciate these
this show is
questions.
about. Asking those silly questions, which may not be silly and can save someone's life or save someone's business or save someone some money. That's what we're trying to do because this is where we all learn. So, what else is there in AI? You mentioned the last time we were having a conversation, you mentioned something about AI hallucinations. Pray, what is that?
Yeah. So that's when AI just goes a bit crazy and makes stuff up. I'm trying to think of a recent story. I was at a privacy conference in January, towards the end of January. I got talking to a journalist. We were talking inevitably about ChatGPT. And she said that she's a huge English literary buff. She knows Shakespeare inside out, she said.
Okay.
So when her teenage daughter asked ChatGPT for help, advice, and guidance on some sort of Shakespearean assignment, the journalist that I was speaking to, the mum of this A-level student, recognised AI hallucination straight away. She basically said that, what ChatGPT had presented to her daughter as truthful information about a particular Shakespearean play, this journalist was saying, well, I know Shakespearean plays inside out, and it's just gobbledygook. I've recently heard of lawyers relying on ChatGPT, and ChatGPT has presented lawyers with, sort of fake case law and fake cases, and lawyers have gone to court and presented such material as
no, that is wrong. Okay, this is where I say, and I'm no expert in AI, but it's just common sense. You have to check the veracity of what the bot is saying. Surely, even I know that. You can't just take, unless they've sent their researcher or their analyst or whoever to go and do the research. They haven't checked it and they've just rushed, and I know those people work very hard. Just gone to court and presented it. Oh my goodness. And so that's AI. I've learned a new word today, AI hallucination, because the bots do come up with stuff and we're not actually going to Google anymore. We're just going straight to ChatGPT because it's supposed to know everything. It's supposed to be more accurate. But I go the other way. I'm more of a Gemini bird, as it were, Gemini person. And what I find in Gemini, for those of you who are new to AI and and all of that, Gemini is the Google version of generative information, and Chat GPT is a sort of Microsoft type one. So they're the same, but different people own it. I find the Google one easier to work with because it actually gives me more examples and different variations of the same answer. It gives reason why it's done that. And I find that useful. And I always go for option 3 for some weird reason. I never go for the first one. The second one, I tend to go, and I tend to, more often than not, I go for option 3. But yeah, there's so many different ones out there, but I tend to prefer the Google one, which is Gemini. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
well, do people have to adopt AI generally?
Yeah, I laugh because, again, there's a sense of inevitability about this, isn't there, AI? It's as fundamental as the internet and, having a mobile phone and mobile devices like a laptop or a portable iPad or something like that. So do people have to adopt it? I would say it's definitely the way the world is going.
And I think, isn't it the term where once upon a time we had the big frame computers, that sort of your computer would be part of, this room would take up the whole space. Whereas now your computer is on your phone pretty much. So you can do more with. So it's about having, if we don't adopt it, other people adopt it and leave us behind. I guess that's how I'd put it.
Yeah, I do agree. Everyone is certainly talking about AI. I think most people have at least heard of ChatGPT, even if they haven't used it. And yeah, I mean, I would say not that we need to panic, and not that we need to go out and buy every single AI tool that's out there, because there are literally zillions and, loads coming out every day. But as you say, we do need to be on the journey, slowly but surely. I always say crawl, walk, run. So, start slowly with AI, find one or two, like you've done, Lily, find one or two tools that you like and feel comfortable with, use them safely, explore and experiment, and kind of find your groove.
Yeah. Do you know, LinkedIn also now gives you options of AIing your comments. So if you're going to comment on somebody's post, and I think I'll post this tomorrow. Somebody wrote a post, I was looking at that, and then it says, who is Lily Mensah? And I was just curious what LinkedIn thought about me. So I clicked on it, and it came up with some, and I thought, oh, okay, I wonder if that's really me. So I'm going to post it tomorrow and ask people to see if I'm presenting. LinkedIn is saying the right thing about me. If there was nothing wrong in there, but in terms of my personal brand, I want to see if LinkedIn and the people in LinkedIn are viewing me the way I want them to view me. It'll be an interesting post. So, but LinkedIn allows you to do that. Sorry?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I've not seen that feature, and you've got me curious about that now. But this is where it gets interesting from a privacy and data protection point of view. So as you say, LinkedIn has, created a bot that's got data about you. You're not even sure if that data is true, accurate, or correct. So where do you go, or what do you do, or how do you challenge that if indeed the data isn't correct?
Well, I think, again, maybe the thing about AI is that it uses information that's already there. So you as the human have to, so I'm going to change my details later and see if the bot will change it a little. I'm going to play with it. I like doing things like that. I'm going to play with it a little bit to see. Not that I wouldn't put anything wrong in there, but I'll change a few words here and there to see if it will come up with something different about me. And I think that's the way forward. We need to play with it, but we also need to feed it stuff that we want to come out and tell our stories better. So yeah, LinkedIn has that facility. It could be the premium version, I don't know, but I thought it was quite cute. Now, I was doing some research about AI and privacy and all of that. And it came up with, I've got 3 challenges and 3 benefits. The challenges were lack of transparency with the algorithm, again, the LinkedIn one. data security vulnerabilities, and privacy violations, collecting people's stuff. So that links in into the data protection stuff. And the benefits are, so let's not all be sort of, we're not fear mongering here. There's some benefits here. Enhanced data security. AI allows us that. Privacy preserving techniques. I don't know what that is. Perhaps you can explain that. And compliance automation, apparently. What do you think? Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, so I would say in terms of the benefits and the opportunities, you know, there are loads, and again, potentially infinite. Lots of small business owners use, apps or AI like ChatGPT, Gemini, and other similar apps for content creation and social media management. Teachers use it for lesson planning. In healthcare, it's used for very delicate and intricate surgery that's literally life-saving.
Exactly.
In finance, it's great for detecting fraud. The use cases are the positive use cases and benefits and opportunities are potentially endless. So that's to be celebrated. But as you say, at the same time, we need to be mindful of the bias. We do need to be mindful that a lot of the workings, the mechanics of these AI models are still unknown. It's all still really new. And that's where the risk and, the risk of harm and bias comes in. So much of it is unknown.
I've got a LinkedIn user. I don't know if it's the same LinkedIn user, but they came up with this, and I'd be really grateful if you can tell us who you are, your name, because unless you register for the LinkedIn, if you register for this event, it will not show your name. Maybe it's helping with privacy, because some people do not want to show their faces and would like to stay behind. So I can't see who it is, but thank you for that. They say this is where research and referencing comes in, and other resources to back up your findings. Oh, there's a clever one there. So what tips would you like to leave us with, Chris?
Well, building on that one there, that suggestion from our LinkedIn user.
Anne Barrett. Thank you, Anne.
Thanks, Anne, for that useful tip. And I'll build on it, actually, in terms of offering you a related tip. In terms of, as you say, sort of making sure that the data that you're relying on is reliable, you could almost do what you were sort of suggesting, Lily. You have 2 or 3 of your favorite AI tools and ask each tool the same question and, almost compare and contrast the information that you get. I mean, I realize that takes a little bit of time, but it's a useful way of, moderating, validating your responses. I would also say, which is what I said before, crawl, walk, run, don't try to get on, that wave that's, traveling really fast that you feel that everyone else is on with regards to AI, and then you feel obliged to do lots of things and keep up. Start, small, start slowly, start safely, I would say.
Yeah.
And my other tip, which is slightly corporate, but it goes back to what I said before, but it's very, very relevant, and it is very, very key in terms of safe AI implementation. Please make sure that you have got your data protection foundations, straight and sound. Make sure that, if you've got a website, make sure you've got what we call a website privacy notice. And where you are using AI in your business and using individuals or customers' data in your AI work, make sure that that's reflected in your website privacy notice, for example. So it's just basic things like that. Make sure you've got, you know, a data protection policy and an AI policy in place. So yeah, they're the three tips.
You provide that service. Your business provides that service to organizations, the you know, policies, legal policies or policies in place to protect them and to protect their clients as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Training is the other thing that we offer, which again is a form of protection. Training means you're, you know, raising awareness, you've got more knowledge, and with more knowledge, you're better protected.
Exactly. So what is this about finding your AI crush? You know, I'm always curious about the things that make me giggle. AI crush?
That's a fair question. I suppose, yes, that would be my other tip, actually. Find, it's a bit like finding 2 or 3 AI tools that are your favorite, that you want to spend a bit of time with and get a little bit close to from an experimentation, learning and growth point and trust point of view. I think it's useful to find potentially 2 or 3 AI crushes or AI specialists, either on LinkedIn or elsewhere.
I have one. It's called Canva.
Oh, I love that.
So you've got your AI crush. Yeah, I mean, it has AI elements to it, but yeah, Canva. I've been saying that if Canva was human, I'd marry it. But there you go. So that's my AI crush. The AI element of it, I mean, just generally, it's just so easy to use. You don't have to be a designer to use it. And I think I'm going to get shares of Canva now because I keep going on about it. I might still make money out of it. We have one question here. David Wickstead is asking, I'll put that here, would you suggest using a plagiarism checker before you use your AI account?
Hi, David. I would say yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
And how do you do that?
How would you do that? There are, well, this is where it gets very interesting. So teachers, for example, use plagiarism checkers all the time. And this is where we're getting into the interesting space where we've got AI checking AI. We've got AI plagiarism checkers checking, you know, whether, you know, content is AI generated or not. So yes, in answer to your question, David, I would suggest using a plagiarism checker.
I think, thank you very much, David, for that question. That was brilliant. I think the other thing that I put there about research was actually from Bummy, who was a previous guest on here. I think she was in episode 2. She's the biochemist, bioscience, and she works in hospitals, and she's also experienced the challenges and the benefits of AI in terms of how many samples they can test at, you know, at pace, rather than having to do them all manually. So she's seen both sides of it. So thank you very much, Bami, for your contribution. Now, let me see what else we have here. But how can we find you? Where can we find you, first of all, Chris?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Contact details, because we want to know more.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I am reasonably active on LinkedIn, so you can find me there, connect with me there, or even slide into my DMs. Or if you're slightly old school, I guess you can email me, Christina at grcinfomanagement.com.
Okay.
But most people reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll put your email here, and if anybody wants to do old school contacts, they can do that. So any giveaways? Just like my mum said, when you come to visit, you bring something with you. So what's the bottle of wine that you brought with you then?
bottle of wine, or possibly two. So yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to know more about the profile of our guest today. For the business owners, I'm offering AI and data protection, obviously, business consultancy,
Okay.
a consultancy session is available for business owners who would like to take advantage of that. And for any professionals, corporate professionals who are with us, who are either in AI, data, privacy or tech, or want to pivot into AI, privacy, data or tech. Again, I'm offering a coaching consultancy session too.
Okay. Okay. So we'll put how they can get access to those things in the potentially the LinkedIn side of it, because but you never know, there might be some Facebook people who might want to go into then, and they're business owners who are also interested in that. So I'll put them in both chats. So what else do we have here? I have a feeling I've forgotten something, but it's been a long bank holiday weekend and my memory is just failing me. I'll have another look. There was a question I wanted. Yes, somebody asked a question before we came on air, and they were asking a question about how to ethically use GDPR for clients' information. I think it was something to that effect.
Okay. How to ethically use GDPR, did you say?
Yes, hold on. Let's see. Well, it's on LinkedIn, and I'm sure the LinkedIn bot is going to give me grief. I wrote it somewhere now. It's gone, but bear with me. It will come in a minute. Let's just keep going. It was from Jessica. Jessica sent a comment, and right. So there's a plagiarism checker. We'll look at Jessica. That's how live this is, because the question is not coming up. So David, I can see your question. Jessica's question is not coming up. Never mind. It was exciting at the time, but it's all disappeared. So we'll have to come back to that later, Jessica. I'm sorry about that. And we just speak back to, and we just go back to the interview itself. But it was around GDPR and ethically using customers' data, sorting customers' data with AI. That was the question.
Yeah. So it goes back to, if you like, the principles within the upcoming EU AI Act. And one of the principles, or a couple of the principles that are related, are around, or a few of the principles are around trust, transparency, and explainability. So it's really important, if you are using individuals' data, your customers' data, in your AI tools, you really must be transparent about that. And the most efficient way of being transparent about that is to tell people about that processing. We call that data processing. Tell people about that data processing via your website.
I think it was also to do with content generation. So we have to be open to say, we use the bot to create this content, or we created the content and the bot tidied it up, instead of us just going and say, this is all ours. So we have to be transparent with that.
Yeah, it's very important that people need to know when they're talking to a bot. People need to know when they're looking at, content that's AI generated. People definitely need to know if their data's being used in AI models. Trust, transparency, and explainability are some of the key principles within the EU AI Act. So,
so trust. Okay, trust, transparency, and explainability.
Yeah.
Don't shoot me. My spelling is terrible, but at least the information is there. That's what needs to be done. Trust, transparency, and explainability. Is the spelling okay?
Yes,
No,
I haven't got my glasses on, but yes, it looks all right. Yeah.
it's all right. Okay, so that's what we're going to leave all the intelligent and wonderful stuff at right now. So, Chris, thank you so much. Chris of GRC Information Management, Chris Tueje, Christina Tueje, and you've given us a lot of information that we were not aware of. And I know I'm not the only one. If I'm saying it, somebody else is thinking it. So thank you. I really thank you, especially, making sure that we are GDPR compliant, because the other wave is coming, right? Which is the EU AI Act is also coming. The two of them will sit side by side, and we have to make sure that do the right thing, or something like that. We're doing the right thing, but it's not a joke. So thank you very much, Chris, and I hope you come back when the act actually comes or it's released. Please come back, whether it's an article, whether it's another interview, and explain. I'm going to do a list and explain question by question for my benefit and for the benefit of other people who may not know. Will you come back, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to.
Please. Yeah, because we all need this. We all need this a lot. So, guys, thanks very much for watching Tea with Lily. I'm your host, Lily Nardimensa, and I'm always here to ask those burning questions. We're all here to learn. Nobody's cleverer than anybody. We're just better at some things than others. So look after yourself. Take care, and may everything that you wish for be the least that you receive. Chris, again, thank you very much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you, Lily, for organising everything and setting it up. And thank you, listeners.